He's going to text him right now.
I'll wait until everybody is settled down. You can't go into the subtle things.
No,
People are making coffee.
The bittul of the, I know, stop it, Bora. You know,
I'm just.
I can't sit in the chair and not understand what I'm learning.
Go ahead, try it.
No, he's got a muzzle that he wraps around each person.
It's okay.
This is mine.
Oh.
Well, we know that we had balance left over. You may claim it. It's on the head.
He left it a long time.
Okay, let's go. I'll keep it.
Okay.
If you want,
Shush.
The bittul that we speak about here, that is Sir Koma of the Ak.
Yeah.
And then later we speak about the bittul in the creation, which, but I'm on it. The bittul there, it's hard to. No, it's not. It's almost like a soul bittul, where there's no. You're part of something greater than you. In the soul and the
One second. Let me stop here. I'll tell you why. Because I intended to elaborate on this. If there's anything missing after that, I intend to elaborate on this in precisely on these words. The beetle is at Shir came at the Yak. What does it mean? A beetle because of Shir came at the Yak. If you have a beetle, it's your own beetle. What is it in the words that the beetle that is inevitable because of Tzir Komediyak? Okay. So here's the principle. Everything that exists has its own definition of what it is, what its existence represents, how it understands things, and so forth. Then there is another dimension in every existence. A dimension that is not part and parcel of that existence because it's higher than that existence. But that dimension is what provides for that existence to be. Let me give it again with a very simple motion. You mentioned many times that a table is not a table unless it is in a room. A room is not a room unless it is in a house. And even beyond that, a house is not a house unless it is in an environment of houses.
What do you mean?
Huh?
There could be houses isolated. There could be isolated house.
That does not qualify a house as a house in the full sense of the word.
Okay.
This is what we need to understand. Let's focus in. I'll try as much as possible to focus to point to this. Indeed, every entity is an entity unto itself, especially in this world and the Gashmis.
We're going. So, not here.
Please, what's going on here?
He's recording on there. People in the audio.
Are we ready for the shir or not? Everything, as I said, especially being to the Gashmi City world, everything is an entity unto itself. While this is true, everything also represents a container of something that provides for the significance of its existence. I want to go down to the simplest level. A very simple utensil, a spoon. To feed the food into your mouth, per se, you can take the plate, turn it over, and push the food into your mouth. In other words, not in other words, in these words. So what is this, the function of a spoon? The function of a spoon is to feed the food into your mouth without disrupting the atmosphere, without creating an odd situation, a disrespectful situation. If there were no spirit of respect, as in the people are, are brutes, you need a spoon. You can accomplish your function without any utensils. But we recognize the importance of utensils. It's imperative. I cannot eat without a spoon. This imperative element is representative of a higher spirit in which we function. This higher spirit has a reality to it. What do I mean by reality? The higher spirit is, yes, it's self-respect, but it's not self-respect, it's not self-made. This self-respect aspect is not something that we invent for ourselves. This self-respect is provided to us by the higher spirit that precedes us, that makes us be. That higher spirit has another spirit above it, which is even higher. These different levels of spirit effect that compel a person, when you go to eat, figure out what is the right way to eat. What's the right way to sit? What's the right way to get dressed? Where does this right way come from? All of these rights are together. The source of all elements that, that claim to have the right way. The phenomenon of the right way is due to the fact that everything has a divine source. Everything exists because the higher element wants this thing to exist. We started talking about a house and so on. Let's examine this Indian. It's important. This will give us an into the whole thing. We sit in the room, we feel comfortable. The room is in a house. It may be perceived that who invents a house? The one who has to sit in the room. The one who wants to sit in the room. Who invents a chair? The one who wants to sit in the room. That is not the case. It is not something built bottom up. If there were no, what we call supreme spirit, if we did not have the intelligence, the human intelligence, that senses what life is, without any definitions, it's beyond definition, then nothing would materialize in terms of value. Everything that we identify in our lives it comes to us in the top-down effect. To us, it seems that we discover things on our own from bottom up. The reason that we discover things bottom up is because the top, the highest spirit, inspires the lower level. If not for that inspiration, then we would not be able to. Then there would be no value in the lower thing.
Excuse me for interrupting. I'm gonna call in. My video's going down.
What? What happened?
Can I call in the conference?
Conference.
I'll do it. Relax. I'm doing it.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm doing it, Rebbe.
Okay,
You don't have to do
thank
it.
you. We mentioned many times, and we ought to reflect on it from a reality perspective as we really relate to things. Practically, it appears to us, it may appear to us, that the author, the beginning of any orderly activity is at that level itself, of the orderly activity itself. To us, it's much more comfortable to sit on a chair and to eat with a spoon. But it's a short-sighted view to say that we invent the spoon every time the lunch is done to eat. And inventing the spoon, I don't mean that we come up with the idea. Inventing the spoon is meant to say, excuse me, that there is no other significance to it, but for that which you experience in using the spoon. that is not the truth at all. The spoon is invented due to your sense of a greater meaning to all activities. This meaning is what permeates all of your activities, all the way down to the spoon. How do these activities, this higher thing, affect and bring about that you should then translate it on a practical level? The effect of the higher over the lower is due to the beetle element. Sitting in a chair. Yes, we're comfortable in a chair, but that's not the end of the story. We're sitting in a chair and we're sitting around the table. And we have a sense of beetle to this setting. And this table is not merely something serving us. This is an environment to which we subscribe, and we have an element of beetle to it. This goes higher and higher and higher. Ultimately, the source, the basis of all beetle, the basis of all levels that says you are part of this greater thing. And you have to participate in the greater thing. The source of the whole phenomenon of beetle is that everything that exists, please understand this. It's a sensitivity that we don't pay attention, but it's very real. Everything that exists because it came into being. Not because it exists there, but because something brought it into being. The sun is there and illumines the day. Now I'll ask ourselves, the sun rises every day and illuminates the day. Is this something which the sun creates, the whole idea, illuminating the day? Or is this part of a bigger source that says the sun is there in order to illuminate the day? The sun will protest. What do you mean? Look how big I am. It is clear to in our intelligence, recognizing the reality of the world, that the sun rises not because it likes its route. It likes to take a walk. It rises because it has a function which it has to fulfill by the command of a higher spirit. The sun rises because it is not an entity unto itself, because it is part of a bigger reality. Which has to fulfill its mission, its command. So we say, oh, this is a projected thing. This is not a projected thing. This is the only way that we can relate to the sunlight. In order for us to be able to relate to the sunlight as light, we have to recognize, we can only relate to it if, in fact, we recognize that the sun is created to give us light.
Was that the last point? We can only relate to sun if we acknowledge it was created.
If you recognize, we recognize that the sun is there to give us light. In other words, summing this all up together is all our experiences in the world connect us back to the principle that there is a creator in the world. There's an origin, there's a beginning, who initiated the whole beginning. If we perceived that we come into a world, a final product, the way the world is, with all the things, the sun is right, the sun is there, and the moon is, but there's no moment where it came into being. This is, so to speak, but the commentary, the natural cycle of materials, of physical entities. We could not really relate to that. We rise up in the morning recognizing that this Indian, that now it's morning, is not an accident. It's not a happenstance. It is part of the order of the world that the creator of the world has set up in the world. We're always participating in the order of the world that was established by the creator of the world. Always, on every moment. To the extent that if I put it down at the table, I know it's going to stay there. Because the creator of the world established the rule that this is going to stay there if I put it down. As physical as our activities are, and as simple like this, we are always keenly aware. Keenly aware means aware at most fundamental level that we are functioning within a greater truth, an intended truth. This is the beetle that permeates the entire existence. Not as an entity independently for itself. This beetle brings the godly spirit into everything in the world. When the scientist goes out and says, "Let me study the daily cycle," the reason he's going to study the daily cycle is because somehow he knows that there is an order to it. How does he know an order? Maybe there's no order to it. The sun rises when he decides to rise. He studies it because he knows that there is an order. How does he know there's an order to it? He knows it in order to it because he knows, without as much as identifying it, that everything has a beginning, has a cause. The beginning of everything is something which is called divine, godly. What is the term godly that we use constantly? This term, we cannot identify it in any of the forms that we identify, that which is below that, which is in the world. Godly is not a world level presence. What does godly mean to us? What does it mean that we say it's godly? It comes from God. It means, and this is true to every individual, that in fact there is a meaning to all that exists. There's a right way. It is right that the sun should rise in the morning. It is right that the sun should set in the evening. It is right that the moon should have a monthly cycle. It is right that there should be 4 seasons. It is part of the reality of world. All of these things that we identified, and then some. This is the term that you would say, this is how it should be. It is not there because we identify. This is how it should be. We do not have the insight and the wisdom to give meaning, to the entire solar system, or even the worldly system. Even though for sure, definitely there is. But at a lower and a small, narrower level, we can readily provide meaning for the cycle within which we function. If there were no night, there would be no day. If there would be no evening, there would be no morning. The expression in Halacha, I don't remember what it is exactly. In Mishnah. Toiv mafkin ra, ra mafkin toiv. Now I'll explain. Mafkin comes from the word bechina. Bechina means identifying.
Testing.
Huh? By testing, you identify it. Toiv gives a bechina, gives a meaning to ra. Ra, mafkin toiv.
This is all to explain bittul.
It's all to explain how everything is. Yeah, bittul means that everything is submissive to the greater reality that gives it presence. We think Torah is an absolute thing. Torah is an absolute thing, but it's absolute only because it was thusly created. It was thusly created.
Thusly. Oh, thusly?
Thusly, thus, like this.
Oh, that.
This is a passage actually in Mishnah, I think. Toiv mafkin ra, ra mafkin toiv. What gives you the identity of ra? Toiv gives you a meaning, gives identity that of ra. Ra mafkin toiv. The significance of these different scales and stages is that all of them are pointing to one truth. All of them pointing to one truth, to the beginning of all beginnings, to Bereshis Bara Elokim. Let me elaborate on this. How is it point to Bereshis Bara Elokim? Maybe it's just an accidental thing. Yes, you have two contrasts. You have Toiv, it contrasts to Ra. I'd like to have you with me for this. This is not, this cannot be put in words sufficiently for us to understand. We have to employ our intelligence. The reason that Toiv mavchin Ra, that Toiv identifies Ra, is not merely because of our experience. We experience Toiv and experience Ra, so we know Toiv and Ra. The reason that Toiv mavchin Ra is that both Toiv and Ra are really representative of what world in general is. The world would not be a world if there were only day, night, and no night. Who is a night? The world would not a world if there were only Toiv and Nora.
That's shocking.
What?
That's shocking.
That's shocking. Let's reflect on it, and you'll see. The whole phenomenon of world is you identify with things, you have a choice. You identify with things that you have, that you use. If you do not identify with things that you use, if the things that you use occur inadvertently, you're not really experiencing the world. I said I want to bring this to the point. We make a bracha every day in the morning. Every day in the morning. And we have a bracha that we have the wisdom to identify the difference between day and night. It's a daily cycle. Why are you so spoiled? Day and night, you've seen it 1,000 times. Why are you making a bracha again? It's a bracha al Torah. But make a bracha every day. And it's not a bracha al Torah. Because every time that we identify this union of day and night, it is identifying it as it relates to the source of all existence. It is not our experience that we are reflecting the Ruach. It is the creation of the world that we have to recreate it every morning, every day.
therefore it's almost not worldly because you went to, not to your experience, but you went to the truth of it.
Okay, not worldly, and I'd like you to elaborate on this a little more. It is worldly. It's not world created.
Okay.
It is divinely created to be a world.
You start out saying we identify this is with things, this makes it real and this makes it worldly. So we're identifying now with
The identifying world along with its source. Otherwise, it's not a world.
But we've taken it out. We've taken it out of the gather of Tova Ra, back to the source.
No. Let me explain. Tova Ra is not merely an experience of Tova Ra. Tova Ra is alluding that there is a fundamental truth to Tova Ra.
Right, and if that's the case, that what happens to that pasuk? Lo mavchin, ra mavchin tov. Seemingly not. They are their own.
No, they're not. They're mavchin of the timdum. What identifies it in the world? It is Tova Ra.
But not circumstantial.
This is how it's brought down into the world. Is how light is brought down into the worldly, and on the worldly level is darkness.
So everything.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to understand that the sheet began with asking the question, what's the bittul of Tzidkoi Meda'at? Bittul comes from us. What's the bittul of Tzidkoi Meda'at? And
Bittul comes from what?
Bittul doesn't come from us. It's not from the Tzid. Why do we say that the bittul is Tzidkoi Meda'at?
The bittul is not come from us. No. That's exactly what we're trying to point out. The bittul does not come from us.
I know. But this is what I'm asking. What was the answer to that?
The whole shear.
Yeah, but I'm not getting the point. What is the answer there?
The bittul comes from the recognition. I'll bring it back to our level. And the bittul comes from the recognition that even though we're sitting around the table, this table exists because there's a room. The room exists because there's a table. There's a house. If not for the environment in which it exists, it would not be called a table, it would be called a house.
So we're saying that
this is what the bittul is. Bittul is what reconnects everything at any level to the source of sources, to that which enables things to be.
So what's the term bittul? Bittul means that it's not us, it's the higher source?
Bittul means it's submissive, doesn't it? Bittul means that I have to behave in a certain way, not because I choose so, but because I'm in the environment that compels me to behave that way.
Yeah.
That being a godly environment.
Ultimately, it's a godly environment.
On the lower level, it's social.
On the lower level, it translates on the world level, but world itself is godly. The whole phenomenal world is a divine miracle, as we said many times. The whole phenomenon of existence. Who invented existence? Phenomenal existence is a godly miracle.
See, it goes down to recognition, that it goes down to the recognition, the bittul, recognizing that there's a creator.
Yeah. At any level, there's many levels, but the bittul, in other words, the spirit, the effect of the source of sources follows the entire existence, all the way down to the simplest thing. all the way down to the point where, pardon me, when you go to the bathroom, there's a way to behave. Bathroom, what's the difference?
Right. And that fits with what we said in the beginning, that it's top down. The top is calling from the bottom to live up or to
The
acknowledge.
top is what inspires your spirit, gives presence to everything.
Yeah.
And
So the
Ak is the top?
Yeah, Ak is the top, the beginning of worldly existence.
I'm still having trouble with Ra Madchin Tov. The shulchan is not Madchin the Cheder. The table is in the room,
No.
but the table doesn't prove the room.
It's because.
The table does. The table does. No. The room identifies the table.
Exactly. So it's top down. It's
Yes,
not
of
that.
course.
But why would it be that Ra, which is seemingly lower,
Okay,
partial,
okay.
Madchin the Tov?
Okay, there's two different, we're mixing a little bit, two different principles.
Okay.
Identifying and creating.
Okay.
Identifying is in contrast.
Got it.
Creating is that which is initiating.
So the bell is ringing to differentiate between the time of the shear and the time of the Galanter show. What can I tell you? Tell you for real.
Yes, we have another minute.
Not a minute. All right. So what is the sum? What is the sum? The point of this? We dedicated a shear to understand the principle that there is a beetle permeating entire existence, top to bottom, even Klippas. What's Klippa? Klippa is that which claims things to itself. An orange peel is an orange peel, it's a peel of an orange. Even though it is a meaningless piece of material.
But it's very pretty.
But meaningless?
Huh?
Meaningless? The peel helps it
The
grow.
peel, if you take a peel and throw it in the garbage.
But you help
But
the
it's a
knowledge in this process of growth.
The point is that the reason that orange has a peel is because of the respect of the orange. The mission would be to everything. Nothing exists without this element of beetle. You can recognize and giving cognizance of the source of where this comes from the spirit that makes it be.
So there's nothing in the world that doesn't understand at some level that the world is meaningful. And that it has a place in a meaningful reality.
There's nothing in the world. Nothing in the world that does not give cognizance to the fact that you think to be flying up from something else.
This we're across the so Shlomo likes always to quote this what it says in Zahir Bahai. Loi Smoil Bahai Atika.
Yes, small head.
Yeah. But that's because this is out of the world, right? And there's no Torah around there. There's no right and left. There's only right. There's only that's not a worldly thing there at all.
I think it's not a word. I think that's what it's called Attic. Attic means move.
So this world, there is always
It is always.
right and left.
From Chachma on down. It's always identifying.
And the sense that that is so, this is bittul. The sense that there is always a whole that contains whatever looks to you like a part. That's bittul.
Beetle is recognizing its connection to that which is above.
Larger. And this is the meaning of meaningful.
Not now.
He chose a good title for his book. A meaningful life. Yeah.
Maybe I should be, but like we can't like renegotiate.
Akiva,
That's what I'm doing.
he understood today.
I'm going to call you.
Try to pay attention.
I'm not gonna.
That's also, that's part of something
You
larger.
agree to do
That's
one
different.
place. Why?
Yep. Take-
Now
You have to think about, I have to think about what's here.
But we learned from our teacher that don't think about it while it's happening. Take it in.
Yeah, but to
Think about it later.
A little bit more for you means a little bit
make
less
it part
for
of
me.
you, you have to think about it.
Yes, but I did the job and I didn't put.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah,
I know the guy was very
This
I'm here.
level of intelligence
nice.
is not
Whatever,
something
just-
that's been learned.
I didn't do it.
It doesn't mean you pay from outside. Which is inherent in our
She
mission.
can do
This is the divine spirit that has been given to us along with life.
So the shear is just revealing to us what's there inside.
Absolutely.
and
Even inside him.
left around
Let's see if that miracle
45.
gets revealed.
This is what the Unified Surgeons
Sure enough.
have
You're
done.
welcome.
That's what they do so much in that.
Very nice event.
Unified Surgeons
Very successful.
divert your attention from the truth and then it comes from to worldly experience. And you think God itself is known because you have proof of God.
I have friends from the other side.
And that is a profound error. God is known because God is inherent in Yunishom. Yunishom, you know that there is a truth beside the beginning.
This truth is without a beginning, but it is the beginning.
It's
Of everything.
really absolutely.
How do I do that?
Whenever you want.
What's PayPal or Cash App? Cash App?
The expression of believe in yourself. What believe in yourself?
That's it, you can do that.
Believe in yourself means
I can't, not at
that
this
you
point.
are
I
a
mean,
new creation from God. And what you know is you.
Whether it's before or after, you should make an effort.
Not that you
I
experience
don't
in a certain section, but because that's who you are by
negotiating one price and then like changing after that. I don't understand the basis of that.
Okay, I have to,
Like we can talk about it, but
Yeah, Rabbi Paltiel, you have a vacation today
No,
from the doctors at least?
no.
No?
No.
No. Okay. No, it should come good, only good, right away and completely.
Good news.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Wir sind stark.
Daniel, is this your phone?
Oh.
You want to leave it? You want to do it's still recording. So you can. Have you been posting the video?
I'm not in charge of that.
Okay. Too much sitting. I gotta get up.